Power is not earned by doing everything yourself. Power is earned by understanding leverage. The seventh law of power is this: get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. In the competitive arena of life, effort is invisible, results are everything. People do not remember who worked hardest, they remember whose name is attached to success. This is why the powerful rarely exhaust themselves with every detail. Instead, they position themselves so that others, often unknowingly, contribute to their rise. This law is not about laziness, it is about strategy. If you spend all your energy on execution, you have none left for vision. Power requires distance from the grind. You must be free to think, to direct, to orchestrate. Let others sweat over the bricks, while you design the palace. History shows us this pattern repeatedly. Thomas Edison, the great American inventor, built his reputation on brilliance. But behind him were countless assistants and engineers who executed his ideas, refined his experiments, and sometimes even originated innovations. Edison's genius was not simply in inventing, it was in building a system where credit always flowed upward to him. The name Edison became immortal because he understood this law. Or take the example of great military leaders. Generals do not fight on the front lines, they command from above. They win not by carrying the sword themselves, but by directing thousands to move as one. Yet when victory comes, it is the general's name that is celebrated, not the soldiers. The powerful understand that perception is more valuable than participation. This does not mean you disregard those who work for you. On the contrary, you reward them enough to keep them loyal, but never so much that they eclipse you. You create an environment where people are motivated to contribute their skills and energy, but the spotlight remains on you. The ego of others will resist this. Many will want recognition. But human nature is predictable. If you give them small doses of praise, tokens of appreciation, they will often settle for less than they deserve, while you keep the lion's share of credit. This is not cruelty, it is simply how hierarchies of power function. The artist may paint the masterpiece, but it is the patron who decides where it hangs, who sees it, and who pays for it. Without the patron, the masterpiece remains in obscurity. The patron's name endures, the artist's often fades. Apply this law in your own life by asking yourself, am I carrying too much of the burden? Am I proving my worth through effort rather than results? If so, you are working like a laborer, not a player of power. Instead, find ways to channel the skills of others. Delegate tasks not just for efficiency, but for positioning. Surround yourself with talent, but keep the narrative of success tied to your leadership, your vision, your direction. One way to do this is by framing. When presenting the results of collective work, emphasize the decision you made, the strategy you chose, the insight you provided that guided the effort. People naturally associate the outcome with the figure at the center, not with the hands behind the curtain. The most skilled manipulators even let others believe they are acting independently, while subtly steering them toward the outcome that benefits the manipulator most. And once the outcome arrives, it seems inevitable that credit flows upward. But beware, if you are too obvious in stealing credit, resentment will build. The art lies in subtlety. Give people enough recognition to feel valued, but structure the story so that the ultimate responsibility, the vision, the leadership, rests with you. Your name must be the one tied to success in the minds of others. Technology magnates, politicians, even cultural icons operate this way. They are surrounded by advisors, teams, collaborators. Yet the world remembers the name at the top. Steve Jobs did not design every circuit of Apple's products, but his image became synonymous with innovation. Leaders like him cultivate an aura that overshadows the work of hundreds, even thousands. This is not accidental, it is mastery of Law 7. Your challenge is to fight the instinct that tells you to do it all yourself. That instinct comes from insecurity, from the fear that without your personal effort, nothing will succeed. The powerful know better. They know that power is not about doing, it is about directing. When you free yourself from constant labor, you gain time and perspective. You can see the larger picture, anticipate moves, shape the future. Let others handle the details. Your focus must remain on visibility and positioning. The irony is that people will often work harder for you than they would for themselves, because they seek validation, stability, or the thrill of serving someone with status. Use this to your advantage. Create systems that reward contribution, but always place yourself at the center of the narrative. Never allow someone else's name to eclipse yours in your own domain. If a subordinate shines too brightly, either bring them closer under your wing, so their glow reflects on you, or quietly diminish their visibility before they become a rival. Harsh? Perhaps. But power is not about fairness, it is about survival and dominance. The world will not remember the many, it will remember the few whose names are etched into history. Those names belong to people who mastered this law. To ignore it is to remain a worker in someone else's story. To embrace it is to become the author of your own legend. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. It is the path to freedom, to influence, to lasting power.